Welcome back to another episode of the Streetwise English Podcast. Today I have a question for you. If someone says that they are from Washington, what comes to mind? Do you think that they are from the capital of the United States? Do you picture the statue of Abraham Lincoln? Do you see the White House and the Capitol building and the center of the U.S. government, of the federal government, on the east coast of the United States? Or do you think of someone from the Pacific Northwest, someone from the west coast of the United States near Canada, someone from maybe Seattle? So it's a common mistake to confuse Washington, D.C. on the east coast with Washington State on the west coast. So today I just wanted to make a quick recording, a quick episode on the difference between the two Washingtons. So both of the Washingtons were named after the first president of the United States, right? George Washington. So, but one of them is a state, just like California, Oregon, and Washington. Those are the states on the west coast of the United States. So to the southern border, you have Mexico, and then going north, you run into California, then Oregon State, and then Washington State, and north of Washington State is Canada. And that is Washington State, which is on the west coast, which is where Seattle is. And if you go all the way to the south of the state, right on the border with the Columbia River, you have another state called Oregon, and the city there is Portland, Oregon, which you'll see in the news a lot. Now, on the East Coast, you have Washington, D.C., and Washington, D.C. is District of Columbia, and Washington, D.C. is not a state. It is a direct district under the federal government, and it is right in the corner of a couple of states there. You have Virginia and Maryland, and it's in that little nook there, and it's on the east coast of the United States, and that is the capital of the United States. So if you're looking for Joe Biden, President Biden, you need to go to Washington, D.C., not Washington. And Washington, D.C., you'll see a lot of guys wearing suits. And it's because, why? Because they work for the federal government. So most of the people that work for the federal government, they dress in very proper formal attire, suit and tie, or formal dress for women. And versus Washington State, you're going to see people wearing flannel shirts and very casual dress. And, you know, there are people that wear formal clothes as well, but it's just a very different place and a very different part of the country. One is on the complete opposite. They're on opposite coasts. So Washington State is on the west coast, and Washington, D.C. is on the east coast. So I hope I haven't bored you with this, but that should help you make the distinction in your mind very clearly between Washington, D.C. and Washington State. And sometimes people just say Washington, so it is very confusing to know which one they're talking about. But make sure you clarify before you assume they're referring to one or the other. So that's it today, my friends. Thank you for listening. I'm Carl from the Streetwise English Podcast, and you can find me here as a tutor, one-on-one for American English. Check out the website, streetwisenglish.com. Send me an email, streetwisenglishpodcast@gmail.com. Book an English class with me. Thank you for listening. Good luck with your English studies. And this is the first part of a series on cities with the same name in different places that people get confused. And not necessarily cities, but in this case, this was a state and a district of Columbia, special district. But that is the theme. So I'll see you next time. Thank you very much for listening, and good luck with your English studies.